Broadcasting live from the tomb of the Dusk Rose, this is Tap Tap Concede. Hi everybody, I'm Kathleen.
I'm Nelson. It's my first time on Tap Tap Concede.
Yo, wow.
But I've tapped many things and conceded many times.
Right, so you're an old pro at this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. We're here to talk about Rivals of
Probably
Ixalan.
conceded about half as many times as I've tapped things.
Oh, really? The ratio's that high?
Yeah, I'm a big turn 2, this is over kind of guy. Ponder?
Concede.
No, this is happening. Or the best one, I guess, is like duress. Yeah.
Oh, just snap concede to
If
the
I
rest?
if we ever do, if I'm ever by myself, I'm gonna get someone to rig it up to just say get probe concede. Turn 1. The T is still gonna be there. Turn 1 probe concede. Anyway, sorry. Live from the tomb of the Dusk Rose.
This is Tap Tap Concede. So we're here to talk about Rivals of Ixalan because, as somebody who's done 2 Rivals of Ixalan pre-release sealed pools, I figure I'm actually one of the foremost international experts on the format.
Ben Stark is just so jealous of you right now. You know, that guy loves his early limited plays, wants to get out front, make proxies, and, you know, do drafts.
Well, I'm no Ben Stark, but let me have like this little window of opportunity where I can speak from.
No, you do. You've got it. You're the person. You've gotten to travel the lands of the new
Ixalan.
set. Yeah.
Yeah. So
exactly.
so basically, I did the pre-release, and then Ben and I actually did the online only Mitgo sort of streamer pre-release for streamers, and we broadcast that today. We went 3-1.
Kathleen's really lucky. She won't stop bragging.
Yeah. I mean, we had a sort of disastrous start, and then
For future reference.
got through it.
Yeah.
So we've decided we're going to start off today's episode, but with not 1 but 2 Ixalan crack packs.
We have so many packs.
We have so many packs. I think a pack just swirled under the card
The
reader.
card art looks like Champion's Victory somehow. That's awesome.
Well, anyhow, do you want to?
Yeah.
I guess we have the crack a pack box here on the. But
But
whatever.
we're going to do
We're gonna
Rivals
crack
instead.
these instead.
Get ready.
Have you cracked any Rivals yet?
That was my first one just now.
How exciting! All right.
I'm tingling. I've got goosebumps. I don't know if we can zoom in enough. If you have a powerful enough camera, maybe you can see the hairs on the back of my hand. And on your monitor, I mean. Okay, let's start it off.
4K resolution.
We've got Stampeding Horncrest. Solid role player dinosaur. Not super exciting, but...
Sure. It's a 4/4 for 5, which is not bad.
Yep.
And it has haste as long as you control another dinosaur. So it's more of this dino tribal stuff.
Yeah, I mean, in your limited deck, if your 5-drops have at least 4 power and toughness, that's a start.
That's fine.
And he probably likes being in the red-white dino decks as like the only 5-drop, or maybe 2 of him.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like one of this guy and one of a flying creature as your only 5-drops.
I'm certainly
no 6-drops.
I'm not opening that and being like, oh, red.
No.
No.
This is not likely to be a first pick. Sanguine Glorifier.
Oh, I like this one though.
Yeah, it's a 4-drop, and it's in the Vampire Tribe. It's a white creature, 3/3 for 4, and when it enters the battlefield, you may put a +1/+1 counter on another target vampire.
So it's like you're getting 4
power and toughness.
but it's just dispersed.
One of it has haste.
Yeah, exactly.
So 1/1 haste attached to a hill giant.
Also,
Yeah.
3/3 is pretty big in the vampire deck.
But 4 mana is also quite a lot. You
Yeah.
think the vampire deck wants to be hooking up a lot of 1, 2, 3 drive. Really likes, when I've played it, at least in, not this set, but the last one, it was like, you love when you have that 1-drop, like the Vampire Conquistador. It's an uncommon,
But occasionally you'd play that 6-drop vampire, the 3/3 that
yeah,
explored.
oh, absolutely, yeah. Or the flying, there's a flying 6-drop. I think there's 6, it's like 4/4 flyer.
Yeah.
That can come back.
If you tap 3 untap vampires.
No, I mean 4 isn't too many. It's just, it's not a goal point in the curve, so probably still not a very high pick for this one.
No.
Ooh, we've got Spirewinder. I could see some packs where this is a first pick. It's, again, 4 mana and 2/3, but only 1 blue and 3 colorless, so not the hardest to cast. It has flying all the time, and then as soon as you control 10 permanents, it also has +1/+1.
So then it becomes a 3/4 flyer for 4, which is very good.
That's really good. I'm usually pretty happy to pay 5 for a 3/4 flyer, so paying 4 is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Having
it's a
10
good
permanents, I don't know yet how hard it is, but it seems like it's going to happen.
Ben and
at some
I didn't
point.
have trouble getting to 10 permanents in a lot of games.
Yeah, it seems like
our pre-release today.
turn 5,
at least.
turn 6 is probably happening. So if like on your turn 6, you can play like a bear or a removal spell for 2 and this guy, that's a pretty good turn. So it's definitely my favorite card in the pack so far of these 3. It's my first pick. Dusk Legion Zealot. 1 1. I thought it was a 2-1. Oh, this is the Elvish Visionary, Vampire Visionary. Okay, cool. Sorry.
Yeah, you draw a card and you lose a life. That's a fine deal.
That's right. You need to get your life lower so that later when you're playing your tutor that gets you any card that you own from outside of the game, you can go get your Death Shadow.
Yeah.
So it's even better than Elvish Visionary. It also has cool creature types like Vampire and Soldier.
I like that on the art for this. Like, this is kind of a Weedly little 1/1 kind of wimpy vampire. He looks like a Weedly 1/1 little
This
wimpy
guy, he does sort of, he's very slight. He's skinny, and his face is, well, he's pale, but he's a vampire. It's like nerd pale, where like he looks like he's the guy that finds out in the movie that the hero has some weakness, and he tells the town about it, and then they all hate him.
Yeah, like he certainly looks like he has a 1/1 worth of stats in the Magic world. Because sometimes you see some very buff-looking like 1/1s, and you're like, really?
Yeah.
That guy looks like he could punch bricks in half.
That's a 4/4, right?
Yeah,
for sure. But sometimes they don't have any weapons, so they're only a 1/1.
That's true.
Okay, so but in limited, this guy's again probably a solid role player, and one of the best 2-drops in your deck, probably if you have a lot of 4-drops, I would say, and 5-drops, because like anytime you can cycle and chump block, like these are very good limited cards. If your game plan wants to go long, if you're looking to play and attack with 2-drops, not what you want to do, obviously.
No,
so
but like I feel like black doesn't usually get access to card draw. If you are an aggressive deck, you want a way to draw cards.
Yeah.
Okay, like, but you know what I mean? Like that.
In limited, in general, cycling is just kind of good because it means you don't always have it. So when you do, it's like your game plan's always a little smoother when your cards draw their cards.
Well, I mean, yeah. I said black doesn't always have access to card draw. Black has access to plenty of spells that are like draw 2 cards, lose 2 life.
Yeah.
That costs you a card, right? And like a lot of mana. This is just all value to me.
I mean, it's going to be a lot better in the vampire deck where he gets a +1/+1 counter from the glorifier and whatnot. But yeah, in any old black deck, I probably only want to play it if I'm looking forward to get to my end game. Okay.
But Hunt the Week's in this set.
Hunt the Week, new best card in the pack. This card isn't new. First printed in, oh no, I can't do it. I don't remember.
Was it an Innistrad block?
Is it like one of the core sets? Was it like M14? That doesn't seem right. Anyways, old card. It's been printed several times. Very strong.
But it's very effective.
Fixed Prey Upon. Yeah, it's like way more expensive Prey Upon, but it gets a +1/+1 counter.
M14,
Did I get it right?
Wow, good job, Nelly. This I think it's particularly good in this format where green creatures are often bigger than the opponent's creatures.
Yeah, I have no experience in this limited format, but just knowing these 5 cards, currently Hunt the Week's my favorite, followed by Spirewinder. We've got Dinosaur Hunter. Cool name.
Dinosaur Death Touch.
Yeah, he kills dinosaurs when he hits them. Very clean top-down design. Well done, Wizards. He's a pirate, but I think he should be like a hunter. I guess that's his name.
Yeah.
Hunter is the magic creature type.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's fine.
All he wants to pirate is dragon blood. That's
Like,
what he's looking to steal.
Like, I feel like people might like look at that and be like, yeah, but I'm not. What if I'm not fighting a dinosaur? That he's not good. No, he's still a 2/2 for 2. That's fine.
He's a 2/2 for 2. Yeah.
That's totally fine. He's a bear in black with upside.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It used to be you had to pay 3 mana for 2/2s.
Yeah.
Back in my day. He's not a really exciting card, though, for draft. Still firmly behind the flyer and the removal spell. We've got Sworn Guardian.
This guy certainly is a merfolk, and that's the only thing he has going for him, because 1/3 is not exciting in this format.
You know what, though? He does have 1 point of power, and that's more than 0.
Yeah.
Some creatures have 0 power.
Such as our next one?
Ooh, no, sorry.
Oh.
Do we have it? Yes, okay, we've got there.
Oh.
Stubborn Sentry.
No, it's a Snubhorn Sentry.
Snub. Warren. I think that's what I said. You guys can rewind.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said.
Slow it down enough.
I'm just being pedantic. No.
I definitely called him Stubborn Sentry.
So he's an 0/3 for 1.
Yep.
In a very aggressive
power.
color.
Yeah.
But if you get the City's Blessing, so if you play this guy late, you get a 3/3 with no relevant abilities. Good.
I mean, 3, yeah, like, is more than 2. And 1.
Powerful magic here.
I actually don't hate this dinosaur. The
He's
03.
fine.
Yeah, like in most of the decks that I've drawn, like in the red-white deck, he's probably not great, right? In the red-white humans with dinosaurs
No,
deck.
you want to, like, if you want your 1-drops to be, like, turning sideways.
Hey, me, he's okay if, like, you need him to turn on your, like, 3 Tillinalli's Knights or something, then maybe that's fine. But
he wears a Tillinari's crown, okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're playing a bunch of auras, maybe you just want a lot of 1-drops. But I think I like this guy in the Naya slower, like, because it just means you have plays in the early game, and then you're going to get a sense, and then you have at least some relevant body.
Right.
He doesn't get flying or anything, does he?
No.
All
He
right.
turned into a vanilla 3/3.
All right, and then to round out our common creatures with power of different numbers, we've got Kitesail Corsair.
This is a very aggressive card.
Solid card, can block non-flyers and can attack into flyers. So kind of a reverse Welcome Turn.
Yeah.
It's a pirate. He feels a lot like Welcome Turn because his similarly his evasive abilities
Yeah.
are lopsided. He's not great at blocking.
No.
But he attacks in for 2 in the air, just like Welcome Turn. So
Yeah.
that's his job, clearly. So it's probably going to end up being
Yeah.
evaluated very similarly to Welcome
Yeah,
Turn.
sometimes you want a Welcome Turn in your deck if you're wanting to be aggressive in blue.
Yeah.
And pirates do generally want to be aggressive. He seems fine.
Yeah, I like this guy. I think he's a solid role player. In a couple weeks, I might pick him higher than Spirewind. It's possible this is the new first pick. There's no other green cards so far in common. We've got Traveler's Amulet in this set.
Oh.
Did we have Traveler's Amulet in the last set? Did we have
No.
Traveler's Amulet in... Maybe it was the set before that or something.
Yeah.
The previous block gave us Traveler's Amulet or Wanderer's Twig or something with a similar purpose. Really solid mana fixing card.
Yeah.
So the 3-color Dynamos decks are going to look through this. You might play it in your blue-black pirate cares about artifacts that's splashing a red card
Yeah,
deck.
that's true, actually.
That's not the worst.
There are cards that care about your artifacts.
Yeah, not usually a first pick, but...
No, but you're happy to see it in pack 2 or pack 3.
Yeah, yeah, you're really happy to see it in pack 3 when you're looking at your first 28 picks and you're just like, what have I done?
Oh, mistakes were made.
Yeah, exactly. That's when you're happy to see Traveler's Amulets. Okay, uncommons, we got I can't talk. What's this called?
Cherished Hatchling.
That's how you say it. Cherished.
So it's a 2/1 for 2.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. And when it dies, you may cast dinosaur spells this turn as though they had flash. And whenever you cast a dinosaur spell this turn, it gains. When this creature enters the battlefield, you may have it fight another target creature.
Wow, that's
Damn.
a lot of words.
So I think what this actually reads is 2/1 unblockable.
Yeah. I mean, it's a dinosaur, and it gives your other dinosaurs this turn flash. So you could conceivably, double up and get 2 fight triggers. Now, that's no good. Actually, it kind of is if you have huge creatures and you want to sweep their board.
Yeah.
If the next creature you play off of your dead Cherished Hatchling is a Cherished Hatchling, then your guys get to come in and fight multiple creatures.
Oh.
It could lead to some silly things. I said it. Watch out for the Cherished Hatchling guy. Probably 2 and unblockable is correct.
Yeah, I mean, on attacks. It's actually, I think it's very good late game.
Yeah.
It basically is just you cast this, the board's all stalled out, you got a ton of mana, and you're like, come, attack into my Cherished Hatchling. I dare you.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're like, oh, what do you have? Even if you're just sandbagging lands, you're just like...
Yeah, that's when that play is probably going to be the best, because the problem with trying to sit behind it is that if it doesn't die, you guys don't have flash. You just waste your turn.
Yeah.
Really interesting card. Already I can tell it's going to be
make people
confusing to
nervous.
evaluate. Yeah. I mean, basically it's a piker, and then your opponent has to read it 3 times and doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So that it's got...
You're going to get someone
especially
with
if your
this.
opponent's me. If you play against me and you cast this, I'm going to be like, wait, what?
People are going to get got good by that. They're going to be
Yeah.
like, okay, I block your dumb Cherished Hatchling, and then they're like, okay, I cast that 3/4
Yeah.
for 3,
Right.
the other uncommon, and then I fight your guy and I kill it. They're like, what?
Yeah. Cast some weird enrage dino
Oh, that's even better.
undercosted, and then it comes in and fights a thing.
What's
Yeah,
the
that's
one
gonna
that
be
deals
exciting.
5 damage to creature when it
that
gets...
one.
Yeah.
I can't remember its name either.
It's like the Needletooth or something like that. The Needletooth Raptor, maybe?
5 damage fighty guy, a
Yeah.
sore.
This
Anyways,
set just came out. We don't know all the cards yet.
I
Please.
for sure don't like this as much as Welcome Turn, but it's a cool...
Oh, I
it's
would
a
take
cool
that.
card.
I
It's a
would
cool
absolutely take that above Welcome Turn. That's my pick right now.
All right, good for you. Well, you're probably going to choose this Raging Regisaur instead if you're into dinosaurs, because this thing is like a signpost uncommon and really strong, I think, right? It
yes.
just gets to ping a creature or a player. It doesn't even have to be your own stuff. They would have printed that card, right? They would have been like 4 mana 5/5 when it attacks. You have to ping your own guy. That would have been totally on the flavor.
Yeah, but
right?
that's an upside. In
But this card's
set.
better than that card, right?
Yeah, you can take
Yeah.
out some dinosaurs. You can take out
Welcome Turn.
merfolk. take a lot of
Kill-
pirates,
kill their
honestly.
welcome turn.
That's a very good card. And it's a 4/4 for 4.
For sure, the most.
That's a powerful creature.
It's the best costed card we've opened in this pack, so I think
All right, that's
it's up
my
at the
pack
front.
now.
Yeah, I think Rage Restorer is the most
Yes,
powerful card.
Needletooth Raptor. I was right.
Needletooth Raptor. There
Flash
it
in
is.
your Needletooth Raptor.
Oh, man, that guy's scary. You know what, though? He's
Take
not
out
that big, but he deals the most damage. So he's like the Velociraptor
Okay, so-
of this set.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So you block with the Cherished Hatchling.
Okay.
You trade off for a
Then-
little guy.
then you
flash
flash
in your
in
Needletooth
Needletooth.
Raptor, which fights another creature, and you kill that, and then you kill a third creature, and you've 2 for 3'd them. What value?
This is going to happen later in this format. Kathleen's going to do this, and I'm still not going to know what happened. I'm just going to flip the table.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kathleen's definitely picking that Raging Reg.
I am, yes. Not that I love like red-green so much, but I do like value, and that's value.
Yeah. Raging Regisaur. Okay, we've got Expel from Mirazka. I like this card, actually. This is one of the cards I wanted to talk about tonight.
Oh, perfect.
And so I'm glad I opened one. You get to bounce something, and if you have the City's Blessing, any non-land permanent, by the way, not just a creature, it could be a planeswalker or something. If you have the City's Blessing, you may put it on top of the owner's library instead.
Oh,
So-
that's a good tempo play.
Yeah, so you get Temporal Eddy or Temporal Spring or whatever
Yeah.
off of 2 mana instant speed. That's good. Like Time Ebb for 2 instant speed. And just,
And I think it unsummon.
yeah, just
fine.
bouncing. Yeah, well, I mean, disperse. It's
Yeah.
already dispersed no matter what. It's dispersed with upside. So I actually think this is a constructed playable card.
Really?
Like, yeah, I think it's going to be fine and limited. The upsides are going to matter a bit less, where like in limited you generally have like the decks kind of play each other and we find out what the decks do and they all, you know, there's time to play your stuff most
Yeah.
of the time. Like there's tempo games for sure in limited, but I find more in limited that like what you drafted really matters, and having to take one more turn to play it isn't the end of the world. But
No.
in constructed, there's more pressure for time.
So really, constructed playable.
I'm calling it. It might be a year, because I don't know if people want to play it in Teamer Energy, but I could see this card being in a blue-black sideboard for sure.
Well, that's
Okay,
impressive.
last card in the pack, other than a swamp. It's Release to the Wind for 3 mana.
I haven't seen this card.
This card's really
before.
cool. I looked at this card earlier, actually. Exile a non-land permanent for as long as that card remains exiled. Its owner may cast without paying its mana cost. So it's like it's like a counter. Shoot, I forgot the pirate's name. Hostage taker. So if you
Or like any removal spell.
yeah, well, yeah, kind of. You can definitely. It's worse than just giving your guy hexproof in response.
Unless
it
he's
has
got
the
an
flex-
ETB effect.
Right, yeah. It's a little bit, yeah. I mean, it's like a blue momentary blink. They're making a lot of those now. There's a lot of blue momentary blink effects.
Yeah, but you can pull it back whenever you want. Which
Yeah, so it plays well against Wrath of Gods as opposed to like hexproof stuff. You're right, ETB. Yeah.
There's in those colors, because I did it pre-pre. There's a lot of enter the battlefield effects in blue and green.
Right, of course, and there always will be.
I don't know if it's like
Non-creatures.
3 mana is worth it for that.
In draft, I don't think I would want to take this card. I mean, yeah, I don't think this is a bomb. If it's not super flexible as a removal spell, except like for 1 turn, and for that kind of thing, I would rather have the Expel from Mirazka. So
Yeah. This is really like way better if you use it on your own dudes.
yeah.
Do you just like take this, because it probably wheels, and then you bring it in against like black-white removal deck?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if you're in blue and this pack tables, the flyers are both gone. So if either of these other 2 cards, the 2 removal spells are there, then you're definitely taking them. I think blue is like easily the strongest color in this pack, which makes my welcome turn kind of exciting. Certainly the card I like the most is Expel from Mirazka.
So that's your first pick.
Probably not.
No, okay, what's your first pick then?
I think I'm still actually just on Spirewinder. Or Hunt the
Spirewinder?
Week.
Or
I
Hunt
might
the
just
Week?
take Hunt the Week. Or you got the Raging Regisaur, which I think is probably right. I think it's the most powerful card. This is the most powerful card in the pack. I just feel so bad about. It'd be my first. If I open this pack for draft, it'd be my first draft of the set. I feel so bad about taking a gold card before anything else.
I suppose, yeah.
But I think it's the strongest card.
I mean, yeah, it's
it's
hard
got
to
the most
cast,
power of all the cards in the
but
pack.
they're definitely paying you off for going into gold. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of an awkward spot to be in.
Yeah. So
But there's Evolving Wilds and there's Traveler's Amulet in this format, so maybe like you end up splashing a little bit for it.
yeah.
You know.
I think maybe I just feel the best about taking the Spirewinder, because then there's a welcome turn, but people might not care about it as much. And I think if you take the Spirewinder, it's like a beefy flyer, and the rest of the cards all seem like support cards in blue. So I think you have the best chance of maybe tabling something good in blue.
Yeah, definitely. If you take the Welcome Turn, people are going to be like, or
Well,
if you take the
there's 3 for
Spirewinder,
flyer.
people are going to be like, the blue's okay.
Right. That's the hope.
But like,
That's the
I
hope.
take this Raging Register, and people were like, man, green. Wow, look at all this good stuff in green.
Yeah, because there's the Hunt the Week, and there's that cool dragon, or the Dinosaur, yeah.
Yeah.
Tough pack. Let us know what you think the first pick is.
All right.
All right.
Now it's time
Kathleen's
for
turn.
me to open a pack. How
do it.
exciting.
This is the pack that was Champion's Victory on the card reader.
Yes. All right, we've got a Sun-Crested Pterodon.
Ooh.
It's a 2/5 flyer that has vigilance as long as you control another dinosaur. It's not really what I want to be doing at 5 mana in the red-white dino deck.
Vigilance and flying are really good together.
That's true. I mean, in 2/5, like, it doesn't, like... It kills a lot of, like, the smaller black and white flyers. Because
for
they tend to
sure,
be
yeah.
like, have 2 toughness or less than.
You for sure want more than 2 power for your 5 mana investment most of the time, though. There's no getting around that.
Yeah. I mean, this is okay. It's a common. All right. Mist Cloaked Herald. How good does a merfolk have to be before you're willing to run it? I think this card's okay. It can't be blocked, so...
Saw constructed play like 2 years ago in...
Really?
Yeah. Someone designed this deck. I'm not sure who it was exactly designed it, but they designed it to be cheaper than a pack of sleeves.
I
it was
remember
like hyper
this.
blue. Yeah, and then there was like a good version that had Thassa's or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was like the cheap version was like instead of buying and played 4 Triton's Shorestalker and a bunch of other shitty blue creatures, and then just like I think pumped them with some enchantment that gave things flying or whatever, and then played cancels. And it was like a standard deck that was okay, and the idea was to play it bareback. I don't know how many people actually played it without sleeves, but the idea was you just shuffled it until you needed to go buy a new copy of your deck. And that, at least the online retailer price for that, was less than buying a box of sleeves.
Or like a 50 pack of sleeves or something?
Well, yeah, I think he was assuming you need to buy 100, but yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
All right, Goblin Trailblazer. 2/1 Menace for 2, Goblin Pirate.
Oof. Scary boy.
Yeah, he looks angry.
They put Menace on 2-drops now?
I mean, like, this is kind of good, though. Like,
Absolutely.
you play this turn 2, they play their turn 2. You can still attack.
Yeah, no,
If you want to be hyper-aggressive and you don't care, you're just in full-on race mode immediately, as I think Red and Pirates wants to do. This is good.
Slap an enchantment to give this guy first strike?
Don't put a Tillinolly's Crown on it, though. Deals 1 damage.
Watch out for that one.
Don't goodle yourself.
Yeah. No, that's my first pick so far, those 3.
Yeah, that's a good
I
card.
like the Trailblazer.
Hardy Veteran. No tribe, but as long as it's your turn, Hardy Veteran gets +0/+2, so it attacks as a 2/4. A lot of rewards for attacks.
I was looking through
looking at.
Yeah, looking through the spoiler, and I just had to keep thinking about this one for a while. It's like, while it attacks, it's a 2/4. So that's like a really weird bonus ability, right? Like, because it doesn't... It makes attacking easier, right? It's like it kind of reminds me of some of the white Boros creatures from Gatecrash, right? Where it's like Battalion and then like some bonus effect that's not super aggressive, but like you have to attack with 3 creatures, and then it's like then you have to untap one of them or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, I think this is R&D's way of saying, psst, turn guys sideways.
Sure, yeah.
And Ben and I, when we did the streamer preview, we had one of these in our deck, or maybe 2. They were fine.
Yeah.
They were totally fine.
Once again, bear with upside.
Made attacks good, and they were fine on blocks.
It's like better than a bear, really.
Here's a Vampire Revenant. This is a 3/1 Vampire Spirit for 4 with flying. That's pretty good for black. Black usually
Absolutely.
doesn't get flyers that cheap. Well, like,
No.
I mean, they do, but like they're bad. Like
Yeah,
3/1, like it's hyper aggressive, but
For
so's the vamp. Like the set is hyper aggressive. The vampires are hyper aggressive, and honestly, there's not that much flying and reach in this set. So like
This body specifically, I think it comes up, these stats, 4 mana, 3/1 flying in black, it comes up a fair bit, like once a year or whatever it'll be in limited. And it's like this, interesting sort of nod that black gets for half-decent evasive creatures, where it's like pretty easy to take out, but it also really packs a punch.
It packs a punch, honestly, like having fought against one today.
Yeah.
It packs a punch. It was actually hard for us to deal with because we only
Right.
had like 2 things like flying and reach.
Yeah, it's
right?
like any blocker holds it down, and any removal spell takes it out. But it is in the color with hand attack and
Yeah.
recursion sometimes. So
Yeah, like it's and like if you can find a way to buff this because it is an irrelevant tribe, then it becomes
Yeah.
a 4/2, and
Yeah,
then
for
that's
sure.
a real pain to deal with.
yeah,
So it was a good one. Knight of the Stampede. So Ben and I played with this today. I like how you're talking about things in your pack and I'm talking about things in my pack. And we
Great.
thought Knight of the Stampede. And I was like, we should put this in our deck because our our pool for the stream had a Polyraptor in it, which is an
Okay.
8-drop.
yeah. That card's expensive and really powerful.
And we had 2 of the 6/6 tramples,
Great.
Dread Moms.
So now they're 5-drops.
They were 4-drops.
Whoa. Well, yeah. Okay. Fair enough. If you miss your land drop, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
They cost 4.
So
Yeah.
like the upside on this is quite high, and I think the body is like okay. A 2/4 for 4 is not like very exciting. I'm not like, oh, and the stats are good too.
I mean, give it reach, and it's one of the best cards in limited.
That's true. It's
Yeah.
it's a giant spider, not a
Yeah.
human knight.
Yeah.
But like. This is like I thought that this like we didn't even have that many dinosaurs in our deck, but like because we were mostly playing Merfolk, but like it did a good job. It
I like
blocked.
including it. I like including it if the dinosaurs you are playing are expensive. So if you had 3 dinosaurs,
We were running we're running like 4, I think, but
Okay.
one was like the 3-drop,
right?
the 3/4, and I can't remember what it's called. It's like uncommon, but yeah, like all of the other dinosaurs we were running were like very expensive, and
Yeah.
like getting a big guy, getting a big boy down early feels good.
Yeah, absolutely.
It also hoses your opponent's game plan a lot of the time.
Even if you only have a few dinosaurs in your deck, the ceiling on drawing this guy into those big dinosaurs is like the power. The power of that's really high. So
Yeah.
that seems like a fine play.
Fine play. What's my first pick out of this? Maybe I'm taking this. Probably not. I'd probably take the Vampire
I think
Revenant.
I like the Goblin the most, but yeah. You've opened a bunch of good creatures.
Yeah, this
That's like
is
all
a-
you've done. They're all pretty good.
These are-
Suncrested Pterodon is like not
The
amazing,
worst.
but it's
It's very playable.
It's playable. Yeah.
You're like, okay, that's 22, 23.
Yeah.
Evolving Wilds.
Better than Traveler's Amulet.
It is.
Your pack is just crushing mine.
This is a very good pack.
It's taking my pack to town.
Evolving Wilds, a handy card, useful, especially if you are playing multiple colors or you want to do a splash. Buccaneers Bravado, which I don't think I've seen yet. Choose one.
Maybe don't play it if you're playing one color, but every other time, play it. Yeah, like Evolving
mean, you
Wilds.
are.
Get it in your deck.
You are like, mathematically, you're thinning your deck a little bit, Nelly.
But do you want to do that? It also comes into play tapped. If you're one color,
No.
you're playing a tap land.
But what like is good is like you can like say you get like 2 bombards at the beginning of your draft.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, red's so open, and then red is not open. Other like, you just happen to luck out. You can splash with your Evolving Wilds.
You sure can, and you should.
Buccaneers Bravado. Choose one. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains first strike until end of turn. Target pirate gets +1/+1 and gains double strike until end of turn.
Target pirate.
Well, it's much better in the pirate deck.
Yeah. This card's fine. Kindled Fury for 1 extra mana. So there's a fairly regularly printed combat trick for 1 red. Just says target creature gets I think it's +1/+0 actually in first strike. Oftentimes the second toughness doesn't super matter. I guess this thing can save you from a 1 damage, which there are a few of in this set. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a goblin that deals 1 damage, and there's a
That Regisaur that I wanted to
the
pick.
Regisaur. There's like an uncommon sweeper that does 1 damage. So this could actually be a defensive combat trick because it gives a toughness as well.
Well, and plus, like there are some stuff that does like -2/-2, and so if you have a 2-drop, this will turn it into like it can
Yeah.
save you from, it can save an X2 from
Yeah,
some of the more common cheap removal.
Yeah, I like this card. It's really like choose one, and there's 3 modes. Win some combat that you're already in, like pump your creature that's already blocked or blocking. Kill your opponent if you can give a pirate that isn't blocked double strike and +1/+1. Hopefully that just wins the game. Or save your creature if it's only just barely getting killed.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I think that card's solid.
that's fine. Hey, speaking of which, Bombard.
New best card in the pack, pretty straightforward, good
Yep.
removal spell.
All right, let's put that into the I'm taking it pile.
Yeah,
We've already talked about Snubhorn Sentry.
there it is again.
Yeah, that's our last.
Kathleen's got nothing left to say.
We said it's fine. Ooh.
Except the correct name for the card. That's all
Okay.
she needed to say.
Enter the Unknown. target creature you control explores.
This one was on my list.
You may play an additional land this turn.
Can't decide whether this is a total trap, terrible card, or potentially real card in constructed.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't think this card is any good in draft.
Yeah, in draft, I mean, 1 mana sorcery, give a +1/+1 creature to target.
Possibly.
+1/+1 counter.
Maybe a +1/+1 counter.
Yeah,
or draw
exactly.
land.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of like 50% draw card, 50% put a counter on a creature. But like the thing is, you can't even cast this until you have a creature. So if you're like boned and like trying to get mana, this doesn't help you ramp.
Yeah, if you're trying to play it as an explorer, you have to have a creature in play.
Well, it says target creature you control explores.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can't even cast it without a creature in play.
Yeah.
Which makes me like wary of like, oh, but I can ramp because I can play an additional land this turn. So yeah, if you get a land off your explorer, you can just like slap it right down.
It's gonna, yeah, I don't know. It's gonna depend whether there's, I mean, will there be some deck that wants to get to big mana quickly, like a red-green ramp deck that also just has creatures in play all the time? I doubt it. It's this card, the more I think about it, the more it's probably a trap. But if
I don't think it's good in limited.
Yeah, if there,
how is it in constructed?
if there is some standard deck that's just like playing a bunch of dudes, wants to get up above 6 mana, is comfortable getting a +1/+1 counter on their creature. Like that's where it really starts to break down. Is if you don't hit the land in constructed, now you're just playing a really bad card. Unless this deck is playing so many lands that's actually just pretty happy with playing a card that gives them 1 more land drop for that turn. So then if you end up
you're
with some
playing
sort of
that many
turbo land,
lands-
like if it's like
if you're playing that many lands, how many creatures do you have to
yeah,
even,
exactly.
Like,
Like
get this into play?
I mean, that's tough. If you end up with some kind of blue-green commit to memory, huge mana deck, then maybe you play this just because there's not that many ways to play additional lands.
This all seems like a very...
It's falling apart at the
I was
seams.
about to say, this seems like a house of cards to me. The more I think about it, the more, like,
Can we tear it in half
shaky.
now? Let's just throw it in the garbage.
No, I'm prepared to see if this shakes out. I just don't think this does what you... I think this is a total trap in, like, draft.
Yeah. In draft, it's not great, for sure. I didn't want to argue with you about that one.
Okay.
But I did look at it and think, are you a constructed card? And now I've thought about it long enough. So prove me wrong, world. Play Enter the Unknown in something. I think it's terrible.
Oh, here we are. Here's a Sky Marcher Aspirant. It is a 2/1 for 1. And if you have Ascend, it becomes a 2/1 flyer.
You had me at 2/1 for 1.
Yeah, this is like I feel like people are gonna be like, yeah, but like, okay, so you have to work so hard to get 10 permanents and then
Absolutely.
all it does is fly. It's like, no, it's a 2/1 for 1.
This card is the reverse trap of the last card we just looked at. Enter the Unknown. It's got so many words on it. It could be so cool. What if you're playing a deck with a bunch of creatures and then you get more lands into play and you draw cards? It's so sweet. It only costs 1 mana. It's like, no, that card's terrible. This card, just put your hand over the art and the words and just look at the top right and
Literally-
bottom right hand of part of the card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2/1,
Just
1
do
mana.
this, and then you're
Doesn't
like,
come into play tapped.
we've got a solid card here.
This is exactly what Vampires wants to do, which is to be aggressive.
I think this is also, in my mind at least, it's like the marquee or like the flagship Ascend card, where it's just like Ascend, a mechanic that makes otherwise early game only cards relevant in the late game, right? Like I think that's a lot
Relevant
of what
is
they
a
did.
2/1 flyer in the late game. I mean, there's not a
Well, it
lot
has
of
flying. No, absolutely. In the deck that just like jams early dudes and attacks, like it's like wanting to play 1-drop into 1-drop, 1-drop.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, the opponent holds the ground with like some beefy creatures and then like kills your stuff. So just like your creatures still, when you draw your creatures later, if you're able to give them evasion, that's a big deal.
Yeah, well, and what I like about this is like saying...
Or if you have 2 of them in play and then you suddenly give them flying by getting to 10.
Well, plus, like, this is a cheap vampire, and we have to remember, like, there's, like, the vampire Forerunner of the Legion.
Right.
When a vampire enters the battlefield under your control, it gives target vampire +1/+1 till end of
Right.
turn. Imagine you can cast more than 1 vampire a turn, like when you play a Queen's Commission or something like
Absolutely,
that. And then
yeah.
you could even, like,
Or
get this
Mavrin
and...
Fen. Is it when it comes into play or when you cast? Whenever another vampire enters the battlefield. So yeah, anytime you can recursively make Legion's Landing, your vampires into play. That makes Legion's Landing makes vampires, I think, right? So yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, having an efficient flyer in that deck, I think, is great.
Yeah,
But I could also see this seeing play in just some white aggro deck
Yeah, this is
that just wants Elite Vanguard.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Right. This is Elite Vanguard.
It is Elite Vanguard. Yeah.
With some-
Or Savannah Lions, if you want to call it by its first name.
Yeah, but this is like a strict upgrade.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So
Elite Vanguard's a human, so Innistrad cards care about that more.
that's true.
But-
Like it depends. Soldier though, Soldier's like inconstructed as a relevant subtype, right?
Not right now, but Vampire is. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So great card. Yeah.
Pride of Conquerors, which I have to read. It's another Ascend card. Creatures you control get +1/+1 till end of turn. Fine. If you have the City's Blessing, those creatures get +2/+2 until end of turn instead. So what this is actually telling you is don't play. This is late game.
Well, you can win the game if you do play a bunch of tokens in black-white. You probably can win or just get an overwhelming lead by giving several of your lifelink creatures +1/+1. Like if you win multiple combats, multiple blocks because of the +1/+1, that's fine. I think this card was originally called Martyr's Cry. It's not usually played much, but yeah, late game, City's Blessing +2/+2 is good enough
Turn
for
guys
for limited.
sideways, jam.
Yeah, then win the game because your opponent thinks they don't have to block very much. Yeah. It's an okay card. I think
It's only 2 mana.
yeah, it's only 2 mana. It's just I think all these Ascend cards, you really don't want them to be like fully dead before they have Ascend. Like our Elite Vanguard we just looked at. It's like, yeah, that guy's a solid little man.
Yeah. He's a 2/1/1.
Absolutely. Or woman. Or whatever it is. Solid vampire thing.
That is a lady. She's a solid vampire.
Solid biped. Biped. I can say that word.
What are you thinking?
No, there's one from like Tempest or Mirage, like the really, really old cards. It's just 1 colorless and 1 white for just all your creatures get +1/+1. And there's been a bunch of variants of that. This one actually that we're looking at is a sorcery with flashback. This card gets a little bit of play in Pauper, Marshalling Cry, because it just has so many words on it. and Vigilance.
Well,
is
cycling
important
is
sometimes.
always super useful, right?
Yeah, yeah. But Pride of Conquerors, I think, yeah.
All right.
If you're in black-white and you can get Ascend really fast, probably want it. Yeah.
Okay. So
But that's it.
we both said Bombard was our pick from this pack.
So far, yeah.
Prepare to have your mind changed. Galta, Primal Hunger is our
Whoa.
rare
Time
legendary
to
creature,
read
Elder
cards.
Dinosaur.
It's
So-
the game day promo, right? This one, we saw this was an early spoiler. I haven't seen the regular art for it yet.
I played against this today.
Wow.
Oh, it was a beating.
How'd that go?
We
yeah.
lost quickly.
Wow.
Okay, because he's a 12 drop. Oh, okay, that's unplayable.
Already it's pretty good with Kaboom.
Yeah, but he costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control. Turns out, he typically comes down as like a 4 to 5 drop.
Right, if you just play your humans that make your dinosaurs cheaper and play your dinosaurs and then play this guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Knight of the Stampede removes 4 of this guy's mana instead of 2, right? Then he's just an 8 drop.
Yeah, well, the total power.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Knight of the Stampede, at least the point being, this guy is not that hard to cast.
Right.
I don't think that you can be like, oh, I could cast him for 2. That's stupid. That's not going to happen.
Right.
But you could certainly cast him for 6, and he's a 12/12. And I was like, okay, well, he's a big dumb dork then. And Ben was like, keep reading, Kathleen. I was
Right.
like, oh, he has trample.
Was
too.
Ben like, keep reading, and then you're like, oh, 12 is a really big number.
Well, I didn't realize he had trample.
Oh,
I just thought
okay,
you got
okay.
a crazy discount.
Sure.
And then that was obviously not enough to make him powerful.
Yeah, trample is a really important bunch of letters all mushed together.
Yeah. I mean, I've literally played against this card once, and this might be results-oriented thinking, but it absolutely ended the game. We were sort of we had sort of clawed our way back, and I was like, all right, we're stabilizing, we're good to go. This guy came down, turned sideways, and it was like, rip.
Yeah, no, actually, I don't know. The first time I saw it laid eyes on this card, I got my hopes up a little bit. But I think in Limited, they can stay up. I think in Limited, this is a bomb.
Oh, yeah.
Your experience with it is probably average.
What was I going to do? Quintuple block it?
Well, it wants to be murdered, right? Like you really want to have just the.
Like you want to walk the plank.
You want a black spell to deal with it, right?
But turns out a lot of the time you're not playing black.
Not all of your opponents are going to be in black. White has some answers. Bouncing it in blue is okay. Yeah, like Pious Interdiction's fine. If your opponent can 1-for-1 it, great. But that's not a reason not to take a card.
I mean, dies to removal is a bad criticism of any card.
Exactly.
Because most of them do, except for like hexproof merfolk tokens.
But just analyzing the cost reduction, I think, and especially in this format, because I haven't played a lot of decks in. Well, we're gonna be drafting 2 packs of Rivals of Ixalan, so you've got more experience than I do. But I haven't seen a ton of removal spells in these packs either. And in triple Ixalan, it's like the decks don't tend to have a lot of removal.
No.
You know, like there's some weird decks. There's like a black-green deck sometimes that ended up with a lot of removal.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like the blue-black and black-red decks I played, they weren't huge on removal. You're just looking to get into combat and play Skullduggery.
Yeah.
But
like Bombard is like.
But yeah, your opponent got to have creatures in play, even if you were somewhat removing their stuff. So in this format, I think you're going to have creatures in play. The cost reduction is going to matter. You could think of it as like 7 mana, 12/12, and I think that's totally reasonable. You know, just have 5 total power of creatures. That's like having 2 creatures. That's like,
that's fine.
and if it said 7 mana, 12/12 trample, I would be really in. The fact that you could maybe cast it for 4 or something is just.
I mean, like where
exciting.
Where this is best is like your board is stalled out, your opponent's board is stalled out. Nobody can really like profitably attack in, and you're like play this for like almost nothing.
Yeah.
You have a ton of mana up, and you're just like turn it sideways the next turn. You're like deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in red and you can get that uncommon that can tap to give it haste, whoo, mama.
Buy board stall.
That's going to happen a bunch. There's going to be some moto photos of hasted Galta.
Yeah. So my Roddy thinking, my results-oriented thinking is that Galta Primal Hunger will ruin your day. We'll see if it does.
It's definitely my first pick for your pack. I like it more than Bombardment right now. This is having not played the set. If it turns out I just don't like being in big green dumb dinosaurs, and I didn't very much in Triple Ixalan.
No.
So it's entirely possible after having gotten to draft Galta once, I'm like, just take the Bombard, stupid.
Yeah, just you're not going to get to even like 7 mana to cast this. But you know where this kind of stuff does go well is into like as the top end of like a Merfolk deck.
Right. That's cool too. And
like,
Merfolk's really good.
Yeah, just like, and if my Merfolk don't go all the way, this is probably still relatively easy for me to cast and certainly closes out the deal.
I mean, I guess too that like, I'm not 100% sure. If you are aiming to be in Merfolk, do you think you want Galta or just this 1/1 unblockable? This guy isn't going to be the star MVP, of most Merfolk decks just because his stats are so bad. But
boy, from looking at the rest of the pack, it's a good signal. You pass a pack with no blue and
Zero
no
Merfolk at all? Yeah, you're
it's
probably
like,
putting your neighbor into dinosaurs.
Yeah, almost certainly.
I think most people on their first few drafts are going to take this huge dinosaur and see if they can make it work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked for like nearly 45 minutes about just like cards.
Yeah.
You had more cards you want to talk about.
I did. I brought more cards from various draft trash at the Moonbase. Okay, really quickly. Secrets of the Golden City. Maybe constructed playable. 3 mana, draw 3 cards.
If you have
That's
Ascend.
not terrible. If you have Ascend, it's probably not going to turn out to be good enough. But this is an exciting card for limited. I think if you're
At worst, it's divination.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this really promotes control strategies that I didn't see a lot of in Triple Ixalan.
No.
If blue decks that want the game to go long have this kind of a tool, that's exciting to my mind. Skymark Transparent we talked about, but yeah, I think this is one of the best cards in the set, basically. Okay, this card, I just had to read it twice.
Cacophodon.
It's not. I think it's Cacophodon.
Cacophodon.
Yeah.
That's probably.
Hey, we got through this podcast with me saying a word right.
And
Sorry, you got every other one. I got to talk one time.
I'm sorry. Am I talking too much?
No, it's not. I got to talk. I mean, I was able to talk. Whereas I'm like all night I've been like I can't.
I've
make
already
my
been
tongue
playing
move.
Magic all day. My tongue is like gold for these cards.
Yeah, no,
I've already pronounced all these words wrong on stream once. My brain's like,
that's why you're crushing it.
not again.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say you weren't letting me talk.
Oh, that's okay.
You're probably letting me talk too much.
I think we're having an equal rapport here.
Excellent. So Cacophodon, to me, says maybe there will be some weird combo deck. Because it says untap. So right away I'm like, well, it's another card that can win with Time Vault. But more importantly, maybe there's some way to generate mana. Like, it sounds weird looking at it, and it's not a very attractive card. It's less likely to be in a combo than Boros Reckoner was. But there were important Pro Tour matches that were just like, okay, I've got this one creature with this weird ability. Then I'm going to cast 2 other spells on it, and then I get to deal infinite damage and gain infinite life or whatever. And Magic's like that. So this trigger, it's powerful enough in the right setting that I could see it being a combo card.
It's like almost like a build-around card for you.
Yeah. So, but I have no idea what the other cards are. Okay, I brought a cancel because I didn't want to steal accidentally someone's rare. But there's
put it
a
back
new.
On the card reader for a second.
Sorry, it's from First Ixalan. It's not from Rivals, so it's not reading it. But there's a rare counterspell that just has raid and says instead of 3 mana, you can. It's right.
Admiral's
Order. There's Admiral's Order. I think is an exciting card, and I think it's definitely. They've been trying at R&D clearly, and they've talked about it openly to make 3 mana counterspells like playable in the norm. And we've seen, you get to exile their thing, or you get to scry 2. They keep trying to feed us different options for what the bonus beyond it just being cancel is. Now, most of the time, you're casting counterspells in your opponent's turn to stop what their main phase plays are. But this is a cool card because if you're in an aggressive pirate deck, like the art seems to show us you should be, you like having, Spell Pierce as an option, and this is like sort of
This
almost
is better
maybe
than
better
Spell
than
Pierce because it hits creature spells as well.
Yeah, I mean it hits absolutely. Yeah, it gives you this flexibility that you can just have cancel in the late game if you get to the point where you've got your stuff on board, and then you just want to play a kind of normal Magic game and counter your opponent's bombs. But on your turn, if you just want to play your stuff for 1 less mana, just keep 1 mana up in your second main phase, you can like guarantee that your creatures resolve.
Well, and we got actually, Ben and I got very goozled by this because we did not know where, the set just came out. We were not expecting
Right, you weren't
Admirals.
expecting 1 blue mana hard counter and you walked into it? Yeah.
Yeah, because what happened is we had a flash flyer.
Right. Yeah, or
And so we're
combat
just
trick
like,
removal.
haha, block you, and
So
they're
this
like,
card's actually pretty
no.
sick and limited, right? Like, it's pretty good and limited, right? Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So,
Going on. So yeah, I think this Admiral's Order is a cool card. Reckless Rage. Talked about it a little bit at the pre-release.
okay.
Evan had one, I think. We're calling it Creature Char or whatever. And yeah, I think this could be a constructed card. It's 1 mana, instant
4 damage.
bad flame slash. Yeah, exactly. And then it has to, like, in limited, I think for sure it's going to be solid. You just need to get into a combat scenario where
You're not 2 for 1 of yourself?
yeah, where one of your creatures is dying anyway. It's super good in dinosaurs as long as your creature can survive 2 damage.
Or if your creature has enraged and you
trigger.
don't care.
Yeah, and Rage Trigger might be worth your creature's body anyway. So I think this card's exciting.
Yeah. It's really good if you have a Polyraptor, but I think anything is good if you have a Polyraptor.
That card is really good if you have a Polyraptor. Having a Polyraptor in play is just good.
Yeah, there's very few situations that don't immediately turn to your favor if you have a
Yeah.
Polyraptor in play, as it turns out.
But yeah, I think this card's probably a high pick. The ceiling on what this card does is really high. Also, this one I think is solid. I can't tell if this. It took me a minute reading it. I can't tell if this is a reprint. I'm not sure.
I don't think it is.
Okay, it feels familiar.
This is very similar to a card that was an Eldritch Moon that I thought was very bad.
Okay.
And it was something like 4 mana, target creature your opponent controls fights another target creature your opponent controls.
Oh, you're so confused. Yeah, it's like, why is this 6 mana or whatever? Or
yeah.
Okay.
And it was really expensive, and so just didn't get there. But this is 1 mana.
Yeah, this card's 1 mana red removal spell that only works on the
second biggest
largest, power toughness. It's a pretty confusing spell. Target creature an opponent controls deals damage equal to its power
Okay, but
to another target creature that player controls.
But here's the
So
deal.
they're not allowed to have hexproof too. Neither of them can.
No, but here's the deal. Sometimes the creatures that you want removed the most, especially in like the merfolk and the vampire decks, are not necessarily the ones with the best stats.
Right.
They're the ones with the best abilities, which often have lower stats. Like you want to take out like the lords. Those are only 2/2s. Those
For
are
sure.
easy to kill.
Yeah, this card would be fine in
and the
up
Forerunners?
against a merfolk deck. Absolutely.
that have like the lingering effect the more creatures they play, and you're just like, I just need to get this thing off the board, right?
Yeah. So I think this is a solid role player in a limited deck, and I could see it maybe getting played in Constructed because this is only 1 mana.
And this is a creature-heavy format, right?
Right.
Like, people are going to have 2 creatures on the board.
Yeah. The other thing is, I mean, it's a sorcery, so you can't play it on your opponent's turn, but you can play it after you attack.
Yep.
Like, you could attack, you could maybe lose your creature, or your creatures bounce, like your 2/2/4s bounce off each other.
Oh,
or
and then
whatever.
there's
attack with your green guy that gets 2 extra toughness, and he bounces, yeah.
Yeah, and there's some damage marked on there, dude.
Exactly, and then you can finish them off. So I think it's a solid card. Okay, last 1 red mana card I'm going to talk about. This is, I guess, is a favorite casting cost of mine. The one for Lightning Bolt. This is a Highlander card that I doubt that it won't be mentioned in any Highlander review of the set. But it's
Relevant
possibly
subtype Goblin.
also, yeah, that's the more relevant subtype for Highlander. Possibly it'll be constructed. Like, this is a solid dude. You know, it's like a fixed Mog Fanatic with the added benefit of being Raging Goblin.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like this guy a lot. He's not very complicated, but this is a really solid Goblin. Mostly I just pulled him out because this has got to be the best Goblin that the Goblin Highlander deck has gotten since, I don't know, that 2 mana 1/1 double strike it's also a lackey. Maybe it's not that
I
good.
don't remember that one.
That's okay. This guy, I think he's really solid. You're going to be seeing him at the Highlander tables for sure. I have a few more, if I may.
Yeah, go for
Sea
it.
Red, I think, is good. There's a cycle of these. Conditional, you might lose this enchantment if you didn't attack. I think just in black, red, blue. But they're all pretty powerful. And this one, I think, so this one specifically, I have the thought that it could see constructed play in the first aggressive red deck after Ramanap rotates out. Because it's not going to, sometimes you get to see giant strengths. It's like in standard. You don't usually see auras that cost more than 1 in modern on Bogles and not in red, but you sometimes do see red enchantments that give +2 power and either Mountain Walk or Haste, or this one's First Strike. So, yeah, maybe. What do you think of it as a limited card?
I think it's probably fine and limited. Like, it's hyper aggressive, but so is most of this set. So, you know, and +2/+1 is like kind of a handy bonus when most creatures are like 2/2s and 3/3s.
If you put that enchantment on this guy, like,
On the Trailblazer, so it's a 4/2.
That's a really early
menace.
must answer threat. It only has 2 toughness still, but you know that is you might cast both those spells before your opponent casts any spells.
The downside of like it must attack each turn is like not that much of a downside, I think, in this set.
Not much of a downside in decks that want to play that enchantment for sure.
Yeah.
Similarly, this is a really good card at fighting that card we just showed. I think this is a solid limited card.
Squire's Devotion.
Yeah, they're bringing in like 4-color energy and standard started bringing in the black.
Like Mark of the Vampire?
No, +1/+1 and lifelink, and you put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. It's Cartouche of Ambition. Cartouche of Ambition started coming in out of the sideboard to deal with Ramanap Red, essentially. Just like put it on a big creature, gain a bunch of life. Now that's in the color that deck wants to have access to because they're also playing Scarab God.
Right.
But this is a similar card, gets +1/+1 lifelink, and then another bonus. The bonus on this at fighting red cards, like the bonus on Squire's Devotion, at fighting an aggressive red deck is even better than a -1/-1 counter, a 1/1 lifelink.
Yeah.
Potentially gaining, more life over turns. And guaranteeing that you get something out of this enchantment as long as you have a creature on board to cast on.
Well,
every
plus,
time.
like, in such, like, an aggressive, swingy format where, like, basically you're going into race mode, like, making something bigger and giving it lifelink is actually a huge pain in the ass.
I think in Limited, this is, like, a huge stabilization move.
Well, especially if you have, like, the Vampire Lord, or you have the one that, like, buffs your vampires when another vampire comes into play, the Forerunner, because we had a situation where somebody put this on, like, I don't know, a regular old vampire, and then suddenly, because of their Forerunner of the Legion trigger, because another vampire came into play, their creature became a 4/4 lifelink.
Wow.
For that turn, and it was like, that's a big swing. That's an 8-point life swing.
Yeah.
Then we put a water spout on it next turn, and it felt like a good decision.
That's tapping your own creature down, or
No,
what is it?
what was it? It's like
Sorry.
I don't know if I got the name right of it. It's 2 blue and 1.
All right.
It's like a claustrophobia enchanted creature. Enchanted
Right,
creature
yeah,
doesn't
tap them down. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
they played. Your opponent played Squares of Devotion and attacked you for 4.
Yes, and I was
Absolutely,
like,
yeah. You want to probably lock down the thing that got pumped in lifelink. I like it.
yeah. But
Also watch out for this card in green-white dinosaurs, right? You know, in limited decks that are playing Colossal Dreadmaw, giving your 6/6 trample +1/+1 on lifelink.
Water Knot.
Big move. Water Knot.
that's the spell.
What or not?
That's the fine spell in limited, by the way.
Great art on that card.
Yeah.
Okay, I got 2 more cards I want to talk about.
Okay.
Another constructed card, I think. Definitely.
Really? A constructed card?
Definitely a limited card. Yeah. I don't know if it's actually good enough. I just really like that it can cycle from play and gain life for no mana. You know, like you just get to play a ramp spell that then turns into drawing a card. Ramp decks love that. They often like putting more lands into play too, because they have stuff sometimes that counts their number of lands,
Yeah.
or it's just their lands are harder to destroy and they need all their lands to cast their big thing. But this is a really elegant ramp spell. Yeah, so
Yeah, it's useful. It helps you get to ascend.
Yeah.
And when it's not useful anymore, because like once you've ascended, you don't need to worry about it. You can sack it, go down to
Yeah.
9 permanents.
The classic problem in ramp decks, and I like ramp decks a lot, but the classic problem is just that your opponents can 1-for-1 with you, and they only have to 1-for-1 with your threats, and you're putting slots in your deck into ramp spells as well as lands, like the normal number of lands you're going to play in a deck the same as your opponent.
Right.
But then you're playing like Rampant Growth, and they're playing like Vampire Conquistador, you know.
Yeah.
So they get to attack you, and then they just get to kill your big guy. And now you have nothing. And
Yeah.
you spent your big guys, they spent their kill spells, and then you have a bunch of lands, and they have a bunch of little
But
dudes.
your big guys had a considered much higher setup cost.
Yeah,
You had to
exactly.
put like more resources into casting this huge dude that they spent
Yeah.
5 mana to kill.
Exactly, or 2 or 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, if your ramp spells then draw you into more gas,
Then that's
that
better.
smooths out your problem. Yeah, so
All right, what's your last card?
my last card's actually a trap. I don't think it's good, but I want to talk about it a little bit. It's a really weird looking card. It only costs 1 white mana, and it can exile a creature. So that looks a lot like one of the best cards in the game, Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah, I was about to say this white mana.
It's like a
exile
path, right?
creature. Yeah, that's a.
Those all seem really good. The problem is, it has to be like bigger than your life total. So when you're playing removal spells, like
Merit Lage, get out.
yeah, no, I mean it's going to be good situationally, and maybe I'll eat my own words. Maybe they'll just be, I don't know, maybe like in Modern it makes perfect sense, or there'll just be a ton of huge creatures flying around. It just seems like the fact that you have to wait until your life total is low enough that you can cast this on
Yeah.
anything, like that's super sketchy.
'Cause, I
And not
mean-
the position you want to be in casting a removal spell.
Yeah, because
right?
this removal spell, like, when do you think it reasonably turns on to deal with most threats? When you're at 6 life? When you're at 3 life?
Yeah, it's like it's when you're at 3 life is what I'm thinking.
That's
right?
not. Yeah, at that point, I want something that does. I mean, yeah, it's super unconditional removal.
Right.
But like, it's just dead until you're just sitting there getting pounded.
Yeah. And in this
Ugh.
set too, it's in a color with a whole bunch of lifelink. So it's just like
Oh yeah.
it's just like gonna be a blank. We're reading it right? Exile target creature
Yeah.
with power greater than or equal to your life total. So you start at 20. So on turn 1, it could target your opponent's nothing, and so on. Like, you know, if you're, it's a good card if you're going to lose.
Hey, it's easy to get rid of Galta Primal Hunger.
Just let Galta hit you 1 time, and then you can deal with him for 1 mana.
Oh yeah.
Got you.
I only have one creature I want to talk about.
Okay.
Because we've talked about so many. It is Deadeye Rig Hauler.
Recolor.
It's a mana war.
Yep.
With pretty good stats too.
Well, it's 1 extra mana for 1 extra power. That's okay.
Okay, but like
But he's a
in the
pirate.
3/2,
Yeah.
it's fine. I like this. I like
Mana
this
War
card.
is a really good card. I like that it can target your own stuff if you want. I think that we talked about that a little bit at the pre-release. But yeah, this card is solid. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I think this is like a very just like it's like not an exciting card. It's
Solid
not the
role
best
player.
card in your deck, but it's got a relevant type. It's got pretty decent stats. Like it's not amazing, but like it always is going to do something, especially in a deck that wants to be attacking, which is definitely like the blue pirate deck.
I mean, if it just wasn't a 4-drop, you could make a deck of just almost it, right? Like there was,
yeah.
you know, there was a Mana War in I think M11 that was like a wizard, Ether Adept, And you could just, if you could just play 23 Ether Adepts, that was probably fine. Just every turn, you take your opponent's creature out. They end up taking like 16 damage from your Ether Adepts before they have a creature on the table. You know, like this card's really good. So is Mana War, obviously. Same card as Mana War. This is just the most recent Mana War we've gotten to draft.
Easier to cast than Ether Adept, though.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, Mana War itself might have just been in one of the Master sets. I wish I got to draft these Master sets more, but it turns out they're expensive. But yeah, Mana War is a great card, so well done, Kathleen. Good job picking up on a really strong role player. And,
Yeah.
Oh, I was right. Yeah, it's in Eternal Masters. Yeah, so
Yeah.
some of you may even just
Here's
know
a card
Mana War.
many other people have already identified as being as a good card.
Oh, no, that's not, sorry, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
I'm just
Absolutely,
kidding.
well done. Yeah.
No, it's-
I like that pirate too.
Yeah. I think that about does it for our little, like, semi-review of...
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's the best Man of War. Thank
Classy.
you, Paul.
You are a classy fellow, sir. Well done, Paul, picking up the
just like-
weirdest looking Man of War.
I
Yeah.
just love creatures that do things, that do useful
Absolutely.
things. Like, that's, like, it's just
Man of
such
War, a classic value creature.
it's a good one.
You were asking me to share some thoughts on Standard. I haven't played a lot of Standard recently, but I played a bunch this season, or this last year. And I didn't see a ton of cards from this set that I think will have a strong impact on this Standard format that we're in. But there's a lot of weird, exciting cards, like all the gold, rare, transform into a land cards. They're all kind of like sort of limited bombs that might end up being good enough for Standard. So maybe like in October, there might be I think the cards from this set have a greater chance to shine in October. I didn't see a ton of things that really jump out and say like, oh yeah, I totally want to put that in my team or 4-color energy deck.
But once energy goes away, once Aether, like the...
Kaladesh card rotated, yeah. Then I think basically any of those 2-color rare transform cycles. So we talked about them a little bit, like the first card, the Temple of the Dusk Rose. Was it? Yeah, was that where we're broadcasting
Tomb
from?
of the Dusk Rose,
Tomb of the Dusk Rose. Yeah, let's talk about that one a little bit. You know, first you pay a bunch of mana,
Yeah.
but you get to kill their stuff.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It's like got relevant on-board ability of exiling their stuff.
Yeah, Profane Profession.
Yeah.
Exile target creature.
This is too much mana for this ability, but you get to pay it in increments. So you get to put down 3
Yeah,
mana.
it's 15 mana, in fact.
18. Yeah, because you have
Right,
to
'cause you
pay
have to
3
cast
for the
it first.
enchantment. The thing is, though, like you get to pay it in chunks, right? And you even get to pay the first 3. So that's not very much. It's acceptable to sink 3 mana into something that does nothing immediately in a control deck, right? Like you maybe it's turn 6, you've killed all their stuff, and then you play like something else. You leave 3 mana up to cancel, and you play this, and then you cancel their play, and you untap, and then on turn 7 you start trying to draw cards and start exiling their creatures. You can exile the creatures on their turn. So like in an Esper deck, I kind of addressed Esper. In an Esper deck, you could be end of turn, okay, I got nothing else to do. I'll just kill one of your guys so I get to start flipping this thing. And then when you flip it, it ramps you, and you get to put, eventually, the 3 creatures that you exiled, assuming they weren't tokens or something.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I think this is a limited bomb just because, it's...
Repeatable exile.
Get to kill 3 creatures, 18 mana is probably cheap.
Yeah, as long as they don't have, like, a naturalize.
Yeah, I mean...
But, I mean, I feel
dice
like...
to removal, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bad criticism of anything.
Yeah, but like this one, the black-green one, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name, but it's the rare
Path to
black-green.
Eternity or something
Yes,
like that?
Journey to Eternity.
Yeah.
That one, I think,
Cam had one.
okay, cool. I feel like just because it's sort of like a reanimator spell, it offers, I think, the most power out of the cycle for like a standard point of view for the least mana.
Yeah, because it's 3 mana, and all you have to do is have your creature die.
Yeah, you just need to put it on like a creature that can die easily. There's some of those. I don't know how many creatures have a free sack outlet. There's that one red mana goblin.
Well, I was going to say, what creature do you sacrifice to get some sort of like bonus or ability?
Right, yeah, the Blood Baron kind of cycle, like
Yeah.
anything like that. And then on the backside, it taps for any color, and for 5 mana, you can start reanimating your stuff. So if you can just discard your bombs, also sack one of your guys for 3 mana, and then 5 mana, you can return your Galta or whatever the best reanimation target is at the time. So
Yeah.
watch out. This
Loot this away.
might be a card in October. I don't think it's a card now.
Yeah, loot away bombs, maybe. 'Cause,
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it asks you to do several things. Once again, I think this is a limited bomb. all you have to do is put it on a guy, then try to persuade your opponent into blocking that guy.
Well,
Maybe just
eventually-
put it on your best creature, basically, and then just attack with that creature.
Yeah, eventually they do have to block, as it turns out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you can draft a situation where you've got a sack outlet of some kind, and then also some bombs. Yeah, I mean maybe in this draft format you'll just be able to go Jund Reanimator.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any sack outlets in this set. I didn't see any.
There's this one goblin.
Yeah.
There's this guy. This is the only one I've seen so far. It's probably not the only one, but yeah.
5 mana to bring him back. That seems fine.
Well, you can bring back whoever's in your yard, though,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So.
Yeah, I suppose just put it on this guy. So.
But yeah,
only 4.
I mean, I am looking forward to seeing which cards from Rivals of Ixalan show up at the Grand Prix stage. But none of them have jumped out to me and said, I'm definitely going to be there. Yeah.
Well, that was some actually wonderful insight. Thank you so much for joining us this week.
No problem.
I was like, oh, are we going to have enough to talk about? Turns out, yes.
Crack-a-packs, man. We like talking about the value of cards in Limited.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm jealous you got to play so much of this Limited format already.
like I said, until the actual set releases, I might be one of the world's foremost experts on Rivals of Ixalan. Blah. Now I can't talk.
As far as I can tell, she's definitely on the vanguard.
I am Loading Ready
Knowledge of
Run's
this format.
foremost expert.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I'm the only one who's done 2.
Done all of them. And you were at the
sealed
pre-releases.
Yeah, I was at the pre-release, and then I did the sealed event. So that's 2.
Fucking
sealed
crushed
events.
your husband in the pre-release, right?
I wouldn't say crushed. I'd say it was like games where both people had to make decisions. I also had a deck with literal like 9x removals. So
You crushed him.
it's hard not to win when you have that much removal.
Next time you have to do it faster.
I know, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
All right. So thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thanks.
I just want to say a quick shout out that our podcast is, first of all, brought to you by CardKingdom.com. If you are looking to buy powerful Magic cards, such as these, or the ones we were talking about, or sealed product that you can get in the United States, or maybe just go to one of their brick and mortar locations in Ballard or Bellevue and enjoy a fine game of Magic and some delicious snacks, you can go to CardKingdom.com. And if you do make an online order, you can say, Loading Ready Run sent me, button please, and you'll get our latest button, which in fact says Powerful Magic.
Powerful Magic button.
It's pretty good. It's a good button.
It's in there with your next order.
And our podcast is also brought to you by you, the wonderful supporters of our Patreon. We literally could not do what we do without you. We would not be able to pay our rent or keep the lights on or do anything, and we are so hugely supportive.
And there's a lot of lights in here.
You guys are so hugely supportive, and we're so grateful for your support. And if you like us and you want to see more of us, please check out patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun and maybe throw a couple of bucks our way, and we'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
I got one more thing.
Yeah, I was about to say, when are we going to see you next?
You're going to see me in the booth on February 4th. Maybe before then, but definitely February 4th, we've got the 2017 Highlander Grand Finals happening.
Yes.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's, that tournament's a little baby of mine. Helped build it.
We're going to be hosting it on our Twitch channel.
Yep.
And it's going to be February 4th, and so you're actually going to be doing commentary.
That's right.
Well, like the top-ranked Highlander players in Vancouver Island and beyond.
Yeah, I think we actually have someone coming from New York who was living in Victoria for most of last year. I think he's going to make it.
Wow.
So it's like the International Highlander Grand Finals, kind of.
We should definitely call it the International Highlander Grand Finals if one person comes from out of Canada.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how those things get started.
That's how our airport gets to be called an international airport. It goes to one city in America, right? You can fly to Seattle from Victoria. I don't know if
I think you can fly to San Francisco.
All right. I just never have.
2 cities, international airport.
Maybe you can fly to
I think
Juneau? You can fly to
I think you can actually go to
can you
Hawaii.
fly to Japan from Victoria? That's awesome.
Oh, maybe you can. No, you can't fly to Japan from here. The point being,
Super relevant
it's
part of the
technically-
conversation.
We gotta go. We've been talking for an hour.
Sorry.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks so much, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.
Yeah, this was super fun.